What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Football Diary. And today we wanted to talk about the Cincinnati Bengals and one of the biggest controversies of the draft season, which was them taking Ja'Marr Chase over Penei Sewell, the surefire left tackle, the best left tackle prospect, ever, the best prospect in this draft. Bengals still went ahead. They went with Joe Burrow, and he said, I want Ja'Marr Chase. They got him Ja'Marr Chase. And we're going to be analyzing how that worked out for them because obviously Ja'Marr Chase has been playing phenomenal football. So was it still the right move? Matt, what do you think?
Well, I think early on, I didn't really like the idea of Ja'Marr Chase potentially getting picked by the Bengals. We definitely talked about it a lot, talked about building from the trenches and building out. I did talk to one of my friends, though, and we talked about it for a while, and he was a big advocate of them taking Ja'Marr Chase. Not necessarily that he didn't like Penny Sewell or didn't like the idea of taking a tackle, but he felt like this was a very different case just because for the Bengals to kind of get that 1-2 punch of, oh, we have two guys that have already proven that they can play really good together, two top 5 draft picks at quarterback and wide receiver, and we can build around that core of guys. And they viewed Ja'Marr Chase as a Hall of Fame level talent. I think many people did. I mean, that's how he was talked about. And then he didn't play in his final year at LSU, so I feel like people kind of forgot. Not like forgot, but there was always recency bias that he didn't play, so you didn't just see him. But he was breaking records, and he was a sophomore. Like he was that good of a player. So I was like I came around on it, I'd say. And so then the draft happens. That's the best part is then the draft happens. Everyone's like, the Bengals are so stupid. Oh, they completely whiffed. It's like, guys, they might have taken a Hall of Fame, like they took a Hall of Fame talent player at 5. That's going to be good. Like this class is also going to go down as like one of the best offensive classes, I think. Like it looks that good. Like there's a lot of guys. And yes, the quarterbacks are struggling. They're rookie quarterbacks. They're also just all started, all the first rounders, which is crazy. So like the offensive talent was just crazy in this draft. They go out, they get the guy they believe is the wide receiver 1 to pair with already a pretty good wide receiver room, Joe Burrow. And then they also signed Riley Reiff, who is coming off of a great year right before. Um, he's kind of a late bloomer, I'd say, but he looks good. And their offense looks really good. And because of that, they're not only winning games, but they're also in every game. The 2 losses they have this year are to the Packers, where you could argue that they should have won because they missed field goals. Now, so did Mason Crosby, but like that was one of the craziest back and forth games. Or I guess it wasn't really back and forth; it was tied for like so long, but it was such a crazy game. And then the other game they lost was Joe Burrow threw 3 straight interceptions. He's still young. He didn't get his full rookie season. Like once he's in the league a little bit more, like we've already seen that he's a pretty good player for the most part. He does force passes from time to time, but he's going to improve. So like you see their building blocks and you see that those guys are for the most part performing very well. And then Ja'Marr Chase has been insane. So it looks like everyone freaked out way too much over a team taking a potential Hall of Fame level player.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing just to look at with that was everybody looked at the Bengals offensive line of last year. And they were like, why is Joe Burrow hurt? The offensive line. They couldn't block. They made significant additions. Now, it was riskier for them to try and make those additions rather than like, you know what, let's get our surefire left tackle for the future. However, they still, you brought up Riley Reiff. I mean, that right there, it was a bit of a gamble. However, it's paid off. And they did their scouting very well, and they were able to analyze him and be like, you know what, is he going to be able to play well enough for us? Yes, he is. And with that analysis that they did in there that I think nobody talked about. Nobody talked about how they actually improved their offensive line at all. All they talked about was how it's going to be the same offensive line with Joe Burrow still not being able to get out passes. But no, it's a much improved offensive line. And Ja'Marr Chase, I mean, I talked about it plenty of times. I the dude is the best wide receiver prospect I've ever seen. Obviously, I was not around when former legends came in, but it was so clear to me that he was going to be a monster. I talked about it. I thought that he would be putting up. I said preseason. I said he'd put up at least 1,300 yards, at least 10 touchdowns. That's what I said before the season started. And people talk to me and they're like, "Oh, but is he really going to be the wide receiver 1 on his team?" And I was like, "Yes." There is not a single doubt in my mind that he will not be number one. Oh, but Higgins is pretty good. I don't care how good he is. He's not number one. Like, Ja'Marr Chase is going to come in and be the one because he's that good. And everybody's like, oh, but he can't see the ball because it doesn't have white stripes. It was like, it was a small comment. Like, that is something that you do notice. He's like, oh, yeah, it doesn't have the white stripes anymore. Makes it different to see. Yeah. That's not saying he can't see the football whatsoever. And him dropping a couple of passes, everyone was like, oh, wow, he can't even catch the football. Everybody forgot that he didn't play football for a year. Like, when you don't play football, when Michael Jordan came back after playing baseball, professional baseball, the Chicago Bulls did not win the NBA Finals. Nope. Why? Because Michael Jordan hadn't played basketball in years. And then the next year, the 95-96 Bulls went on to win 90 or 72 games. Ja'Marr Chase in the preseason isn't in football shape. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh yeah, that's how you do it. And we're seeing him just absolutely put it together and get back on that 2019 LSU ridiculousness that he was putting on with Joe Burrow. And I feel like he's showing that he is a level. I mean, the numbers are coming out every week. Oh, wow. First player with a 30-plus yard touchdown as a rookie in his first 5 games. Like, since, I don't know, some other people. I know he's on list with Randy Moss as like the only player to do this. Most consecutive games to start a career with 100 receiving yards. He's tied Terry McLaurin for, I want to say, 4th most all time. The NFL record is 7, I believe. Ja'Marr Chase has 5. I feel like he's probably going to hit. I mean, there's a chance he hits 17. I mean, unless he goes up against a corner that's going to be taking him, one-on-one at all times, like, he's going to cook them. And his athleticism is something that is completely overlooked. Everybody looks at the speed of the other guys in this draft, guys like Rondale Moore, Jalen Waddle. Ja'Marr Chase is still a burner, but he's also massive. He's a big body with great speed, and the best comparison that you can give for him is a guy like a Julio, like a Randy Moss. And whenever your frame and skill set is being compared to those guys, you're going to be a great NFL player. I don't think anybody's ever come in and they're like, you know what, this guy's really the only guys you can compare it to are Julio and Randy Moss, and they've just been terrible. Doesn't happen. I mean, it was a given that he was going to be a monster. And that was never the problem with Ja'Marr Chase. I don't think in the decision. I don't think anybody saw this draft pick and were like, oh, Ja'Marr Chase is going to suck in Cincinnati. I think the biggest thing is we can't really tell how good Penei Sewell is. If Penei Sewell comes out and is the guy that, could have been the greatest thing ever, maybe they make the wrong decision. But as of right now, I would say that they made the right choice. And I want to apologize to the Cincinnati Bengals because I was very excited that they took Ja'Marr Chase because I'm a Ravens fan. And unfortunately now I'm going to have to eat those words having to watch the Ravens cover him with Anthony Averett, who is cheeks. But Matt, do you have anything else that you want to add on Ja'Marr Chase and Penei Sewell?
Yeah, I was just going to say, it was pretty funny because he kind of fell a little bit in fantasy, like especially for redraft leagues. I know, because like the preseason comments and stuff, and like in dynasty leagues too, like he was going way later than he should be, like for how talented he is, and everyone was like, "Yeah, he's the wide." I saw people saying, like people that are like notable media people saying that he was going to be the wide receiver 3 to start the year. I was thinking, what? And I love Tyler Boyd. I'm a huge Tyler Boyd guy. And people are like, yeah, he's the rookie. Tyler Boyd's there. He's been a veteran. Higgins, he looks good. T. Higgins has been a great player. Like, he's that big play threat. Guys, Ja'Marr is special. He's the clear wide receiver 1. And also, Boyd has more catches in him because he's like more of like the possession, third down, big slot catch kind of guy. But Ja'Marr has 4 more touchdowns and over 150 more yards. And T. Higgins has been hurt. But T. Higgins is I think T. Higgins in terms of production will be the third fiddle. Now, he'll have some sweet plays, and he's a great player. I'm not trying to like diminish his talent, but they have 3 great players, and they have a true guy that's already, 5 weeks into the year. I mean, week 1, you see that he's a wide receiver 1 already in the league. That's impressive stuff right there. And so even if Penny Sewell's a Hall of Famer, if Ja'Marr keeps up what he's doing, you can't knock the pick. Because at the end of the day, they got their guys that they're going to keep. They got, the 2 LSU guys that put up the greatest college offense, arguably. That was them. Those were those 2 guys. And yes, there's Justin Jefferson, amazing player, and there's Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But the 1 and 2 of that offense was Burrow, Chase. And now they have that in Cincinnati. So I think it's going to be it might not, they might not show this year. Like, they still got to build this roster around these guys. The defensive side of the ball isn't that great, but they have their offensive building blocks, which is huge.
Absolutely. I feel like that's going to do it for this video. Let us know in the comment section down below what you guys think about Ja'Marr Chase. Were you right on him? What do you think about the pick over Penei? But thank you, everybody, for watching. Subscribe for more current football content. We'll see all of you again next time.